Welcome to Mile High Reefers. I'm Scott Anderson, and on my last video, the biggest thing going on with my tanks were they were completely and utterly neglected. Now, I could make this video about me cleaning my skimmers and cleaning the glass, but let's do something a little more fun. Let's throw some new gear at the Nano and some more coral at the 210 gallon tank. The biggest problem I'm having with this tank is a lack of flow. If you look at my Hollywood Stunner chalice, there's a whole bunch of detritus on it. And that's because the main return pump, which provides all the flow for this tank, isn't enough to blow that detritus off. To remedy that, I've got an Aqamai KPS pump that I'm gonna be installing. Now, Aqamai is part of the Hydor group, so I'm expecting the Hydor legendary quality with the Aqamai controllability. It should be really cool. I do want to note, with all of this Aqamai stuff, they do sell this where I work, so I'm totally biased. But this isn't a commercial, this is me putting new gear on my tank. Now, the light is the Aqamai light. And I'm putting this on this tank, not because I have a problem with the Kessel, but because I really want to try it out and see what it's like. So it's been a few hours, but I have the Aqamai LRM light on the tank and the Aqamai KPS pump in the tank. And setup was really easy. I downloaded the app, it hooked right in. I used an iPad for all of this, and it took a little figuring, but it was a fairly easy setup. So far, I'm really impressed. The light looks amazing up here. It's nice and thin and sleek looking. I really like it. The bracket looks really cool on there. It has plenty of room for my skimmer, and the little tiny KPS pump fits in there really nice. It's nice and small, which is what you need for a small tank. And I'll do a full review on the Aqamai LRM light and KPS pump in a few weeks. So the big tank's looking good, other than a few little things. First is this green hammer right here. It's getting covered up by my clam, so I think we're gonna pull it out. Not sure what we're gonna do in that place, but we gotta do something. Second, I have a whole bunch of xenia right here. It's a huge section of it. Now, all this little stuff needs to come out. You know what? I think we're gonna take the whole colony out because I have something a lot cooler to put right there. Now, my final problems with my Sinularia. It is taking up a huge section and it's overgrowing my Duncans and Acro and a few other coral, and it's becoming a problem. Probably not fixing this today. I took all the xenia out and I added a fox coral. Now, right now it doesn't look like much. We're actually the next day. So I swapped them out, and this morning when I got it, it was actually laying on its side. So it needs to reopen up, get used to the waves and the lighting in this tank. Also, I took the green hammer out and I moved the green frog spawn around so that hopefully it gets a little better lighting and looks better where it's at. And then I added the world's saddest gold hammer. I've had this hammer for about 6-8 months now, and it's just never gotten happy. I had it in my 24 gallon tank and it didn't look like much. I put it downstairs in my frag tanks and it just hasn't done very well. Well, now it's in this tank, it's kind of pulled in, and it's not very gold anymore. So we'll see if we can get it better. As far as the rest of this tank, it's doing really well. Now, a few months ago, I changed the positioning of the bird's nest and it's grown in and it looks like part of the reef now. I'm really happy about that. I have a lot of Montipora that's grown into each other that I'm having to frag back to just try to maintain some sort of balance. So that's not a bad thing. But for the most part, everything's really healthy and doing really well. All the tangs are doing great. I've got minimal aggression. They're all fat and healthy. If anything, the fish are too fat and happy. It's not a bad thing, but maybe the fish need to go on a diet. They're doing so good. The other thing that has happened is I had an alkalinity crash, and I have some minor issues with my Montes. A couple of them are showing white spots on them, but for the most part, it's okay. What happened is my calcium reactor crashed on me. So I ran out of CO2. Not a big deal, bought more CO2. And then I changed out my filter media, or the calcium that goes inside of it. So I swapped that out and reset everything, and then I had a leak. Along with that, the one-way valve on my calcium reactor failed also. So I went basically 2 weeks with iffy calcium and alkalinity on this tank, and it went clear down to 4.5. So I've been slowly bringing that back up. So the calcium reactor is currently working as it should be, and it's doing what it's supposed to, but I'm just in the process of leveling calcium and alkalinity back out on this tank. So last night when I started rearranging this tank, I put my toadstool downstairs and realized my long spine urchin had started eating some of my coral, including my grafted Monty, which is terrible because that's a really cool coral. So I took some of the coolest coral out of that tank and put it in here. So that's a couple of Monties, a really awesome Cephastria, and we'll see how they do in here. I've been kind of not wanting to put really high-end stuff in here because I'm really bad about dosing. But in the future, I'm gonna get a dosing pump for this. It's gonna happen. Now, the long spine urchin, he's gotta move from my frag tank up on the second level down to the bottom of the sump where he can just eat stuff. So I'm loving this 24-gallon tank. The new light is really cool. The new pump is really cool. In fact, the only thing I don't like about this 24-gallon tank is the curved front glass. It makes it really hard to get the algae off, and it makes it really hard to shoot video on because this curve creates a lensing effect, and it just makes it impossible to get a really nice focus on the corals. So if anything, I'd love to replace it, but the tank's doing so good and it fits this area so well. And let's face it, this whole setup is really cheap. So it's probably staying as is, other than some minor gripes that I thought I'd throw in this update video. Anyways, I think this one's probably gone on way too long. Thanks for watching.
Oh, you missed the best part of the weekend. We got a new puppy. Introducing Carter Fluffy Anderson. He's a miniature dachshund. Thanks for watching this episode of Mount High Reefers. Like, subscribe. See you on the next one. Peace.